What if a simple junkyard purchase turned into a decades-old mystery? Hidden in a cracked glove compartment, a dusty diary, and a cryptic map never meant to be found. Until now. On a mundane morning in late autumn 2024, in a sprawling junkyard on the outskirts of a forgotten Midwestern town, Jake Morrison crouched beside a rusted 1967 sedan. The air smelled of oil, decaying rubber, and the faint, dusty hint of leaves pressed into cracked leather. Jake wasn't a collector or a historian. In fact, he was just a storyteller with a penchant for the strange and unexplained. This junkyard was supposed to be his next backdrop, a setting for forgotten things. His eyes caught a glint in the glove compartment of the old sedan. Not expecting much, usually empty or just filled with old napkins and the occasional map, he carefully opened the compartment. There, tucked away under decades of dust and spider webs, lay an old leather-bound diary and a folded, yellowed map. The diary's cover was cracked and worn, but bore a faint inscription. "For my eyes only, November 1978. The map, fragile and brittle, was dotted with cryptic markings and faint shadows of places long erased from the city's current landscape. Jake's heart quickened. How had this personal treasure survived being tossed into this scrapyard? And who had written those quietly waiting pages? He imagined a man or woman who had trusted the glove compartment, not just as a place to keep gloves, but to hide secrets. The kind of secrets that could change everything, or nothing at all. He took the diary gently, careful not to break the brittle spine. The first page's elegant, somewhat faded script pulled him in. The world feels different now. The air heavier with things left unsaid. If you found this, it means the time has come to know. In that instant, the old car was no longer just a heap of scrap. It was a vessel of stories, human stories, waiting to unravel. The diary's pages were fragile, yellowed with age, but Jake read every word with increasing fascination. The entries began in early 1978, penned by a woman named Evelyn Carrow. She was the owner of the car and a local cartographer, a woman who spent her days mapping forgotten corners of the city and its surrounding wilderness. Evelyn's words revealed a life caught between the ordinary and the extraordinary. She wrote about her work at the local map-making company, a modest but cherished job. Yet beneath the surface was an obsession, an exploration of hidden places no map dared show. In an entry dated June 12, 1978, Evelyn mentioned discovering an unofficial trail deep in the woods outside town. The map folded inside the glove compartment precisely marked this trail. But with more than just geographic notes, symbols and cryptic annotations peppered the margins like a secret language. The map hinted at what Evelyn called the crossing, a place where reality blurred and something else waited in the mist. Jake's mind raced. To do a cartographer like Evelyn, maps were more than navigational tools. They were keys to understanding the world's unseen corners. But what was the crossing? He found no direct answers in the diary yet, and no mention of who else might know of it. As Jake scanned further, the tone shifted. Evelyn wrote about strange occurrences, lost time, fleeting shadows, and cold winds that whispered names only she recognized. In July's entry, she described finding a small wooden box buried under an ancient oak tree near the trail, a box that contained an old key and a folded note. The note's handwriting was unfamiliar and cryptic. The path you seek is never just a path. Remember where the earth breathes deepest, and listen for the silence that screams. A chill ran down Jake's spine. Was this just metaphor, or had Evelyn stumbled upon something more? The emotional stakes grew higher. This was no longer a simple personal diary. It was a document of obsession, fear, and something far beyond ordinary life. Several entries later, Jake encountered Evelyn's frustrations. Her health was deteriorating. She wrote about sleepless nights and paranoia. She feared someone was watching her. Her last entry, dated November 3, 1978, was fragmented, tense, and almost desperate. They know I have the map. The crossing is coming for me. I must hide this. If you find this, trust no one. The trail ends where we began, but the story is not over. Jake paused, placing the diary down on the car's torn seat. Outside, the wind picked up. A mournful whistle streamlined through the junkyard's broken metal bones. He thought about Evelyn, alone, scared, clutching secrets too heavy to bear. The diary was more than a story. It was a puzzle, layered with warnings. Who was they? What was the crossing? And why had this car, this vehicle of hidden truths, ended up discarded like so many others? Deciding to follow the map's clues, Jake examined it under the flickering streetlight. He spotted a familiar landmark from the modern city. An old abandoned factory slated for demolition in 2025. Evelyn's markings indicated the trail began just beyond this place, deep into a woodsy patch now disappearing under urban sprawl. Jake realized this wasn't just a relic. It was a call to unravel a mystery almost forgotten by time and place. Jake sat back, diary in hand, the weight of Evelyn's world pressing on him. He thought about the nature of secrets buried in plain sight, how someone's private explorations might share invisible threads with history's darker, quieter moments. How the simple act of opening a glove compartment could shift the axis of someone's life story. What do you think Evelyn was really trying to protect? What happens when the maps we trust aren't maps of safe roads, but maps of shadows? With a mixture of curiosity and apprehension, Jake decided to explore the location on Evelyn's map. The abandoned factory, battered by time and vandalism, stood as a haunting relic of the past, an industrial skeleton surrounded by encroaching undergrowth. The dusk light filtered weakly through broken windows, casting fractured shadows across the rusting machinery inside. Jake followed Evelyn's trail markers deep into the nearby woods. The map, now fragile and nearly torn, guided him toward an ancient oak tree, the very spot Evelyn had described in her diary. The air grew heavy, silent in a way that pressed on his skin. Under the oak, Jake found a small wooden box, just like Evelyn had written. His hands trembled as he lifted the lid. Inside lay an ornate metal key and a crumpled note, almost identical to the one in the diary. The note's words stirred something primal in Jake. The crossing is not a place, but a moment. It tests what we hold dear. Only the ready may pass. What happened next was unexpected. As night fell, Jake noticed strange sounds, soft whispers, or perhaps the rustling of unseen things. The wind seemed to carry voices. The shadows twisted around him, and a sudden breeze moved the leaves, revealing a hidden path overlooked by time. At the path's entrance, Jake found remnants of an old sign, words worn away but once reading, "Crossing." Heart pounding, he took the key and stepped forward. Suddenly, a memory flickered. Evelyn's last warning. They know I have the map. Jake felt a strange sensation, like being watched from just beyond sight. His phone, left in his pocket, vibrated, no signal, but the screen flickered as if alive. He pressed on, the forest swallowing the path behind him. At the trail's end, he discovered a rundown, battered cabin. Inside, journals, maps, and old photographs confirmed Evelyn wasn't alone. A small community of people had tried to understand the crossing, each leaving clues and warnings about something beyond normal understanding. Among their notes was a record of disappearances, of moments lost in time and space, people who vanished walking the trail. Evelyn's paranoia was rooted in truth. There were forces linked to the crossing that seemed to guard its secrets fiercely. Jake exited the woods at dawn, mind reeling. The diary, the map, the box, they weren't mere relics but pieces of a larger tapestry woven from fear, hope, and human curiosity. Who were they? A shadowy group protecting the crossing's secret, or perhaps just the weight of fear itself turning real. Jake's journey ended, but Evelyn's story was far from over. Months later, news surfaced of a conservation effort to protect the old forest and its forgotten trails. The story of Evelyn Carrow and the crossing sparked quiet interest in historians and local authorities, blending legend with documented fact. Yet no clear explanation emerged from the shadowy mystery. Evelyn's diary and map remind us that some histories are layered with secrets, not just of places or people, but of human fears, of the unknown we try to chart. What secrets do we carry, hidden away, locked in compartments of memory and time? When is curiosity a gift, and when a dangerous door? Don't forget to subscribe to Real Mystery Reports for more strange, dark, and profoundly human stories. New true mysteries every day.